Everything is perfect! Nothing's gonna ruin my vacation plans!
I can't wait to host you at my
In our summer paradise!
Hey, what is going on everybody, and welcome to Fantasia. For today, we're going to be jumping into another session of Epic 7. Now today, got some more patch previews for you guys. So, this update content is jam-packed with a ton of goodies and some insight into things that we've been anticipating. Now, just so you know, this is not the only video that we're going to be posting today. You'll have your regularly scheduled RTA content later on at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, so stay tuned. But I thought that it'd be nice to cover some of this information in case you guys haven't seen it yet. So, there is a quick little patch preview that they put up on their site, their YouTube channel, which is quite nice to look at, but some of the stuff that's covered in here is not actually covered in that video. The preview that you saw at the beginning of the video was mentioned right here, but now let's dive into the goodies. And we start off with an amazing title screen. Just look at little Violet there, just flying out of Luluca's grasp. It is absolutely beautiful. I love that title screen, and hopefully the data miners can actually grab an image of that background so that you can use it as a desktop wallpaper or something like that if you so desire. The side story that's going to be coming out is going to be a little different than the ones that we've usually seen. So they come in 4 weeks. This is actually a really long event. This kind of reminds me of the original Guilty Gear event and stuff like that. So 4 weeks, but we're getting story chapters. There's 4 chapters that are going to be available. The first one's going to be available after maintenance on Thursday. So it looks like, if you're familiar with the Moonlight Theater, it looks like it's going to be similar to that in terms of we have, multiple acts in each episode, and you get to consume energy to view the story, and you get rewards for viewing the story for the first time. This is kind of nice. You can actually go back and like rewatch little scenes and stuff. But this also means that we're probably not going to be having too many battle stages. All stages will proceed as NPC battles and will not provide any stage clear rewards. So moving on here, we have the event battle stage. So there are some battle stages in here, and the cool thing is, look at the obtainable rewards, right? You can get equipment, reforged materials, and event currency as well. So this is pretty nice. It says, viewing Act 8 of Chapter 1 story will unlock the event battle stage, Suspicious Hot Spring. The event battle consists of 2 phases and can form a total of 2 teams of 7 heroes on the team formation screen. So this is kind of like the Advent battle page, I believe. Heroes deployed in the key slot are the main heroes and will automatically be placed in both teams 1 and 2. So you get to choose essentially 3 units for the first team, 3 units for the second team, and then 1 lead hero that's in both teams. It requires 30 energy to enter the stage, and players must select a higher difficulty after successfully clearing the one before it. As the difficulty progresses, the amount of stigma, gold, and event currency earned will increase, and you can acquire a level 85 epic equipment or accessory of the desired set from counter, pen set, and resist set as the battle stage rewards for weeks 1 and 2. So that is pretty nice. Now, I don't know what they mean by that. If it's just going to be like an epic craft that you would normally do, I'm assuming it's going to be like that, where you can't choose the substats. It's probably just going to give you an epic equipment, and then you're going to pray that you have some good rolls there. By clearing stage 5, which can only be completed once during the event period, you can acquire exclusive stamps that can be used to decorate your profile cards. For those of you guys who are interested in that, there you go. So yeah, the event layout's going to be pretty interesting, right? It's kind of like an Advent layout here. There's 2 waves. You get a lead hero for both teams. They're gonna, encourage you to summon for Luluca, which I would encourage you to do as well, because she's limited, and she also looks pretty fun to use. Now, limited heroes, I always encourage you guys to summon for. The issue is, I think we're getting 2 limited heroes this summer. You see the unit on the left. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Lethe or Lethe. Lethe is also probably going to be a limited summer unit, so careful, right? There's essentially back-to-back banners of limited units, and if you're low on currency, you might have to split your decision as to who you're going to go for. Here, I'm not going to go over all of this, but the lead hero, if you use Luluca, she gains all these buffs. I highly doubt anyone's really going to have the SSS buffs, but if you get her by default, you get some increase to your attack, health, and effectiveness, which is quite nice. Now, the artifact also gives you some increased drop rates, so make sure you equip that while you're farming for currency. And here we go, the shop is also slightly different. So once you get the currency, you can exchange them for souvenirs, illustrations, and epic equipment. The exchange period will only remain for 7 days after a side story ends, like normal. In the Souvenir Exchange, you can use the event currency for, they say random souvenirs, but I'm pretty sure you could just clear out the entire shop if you farm enough. Yeah, souvenirs that have reached the maximum exchange limit will no longer be displayed. Essentially, you want to get everything here. It's good value, right? And after receiving the rewards for watching the final episodes of Chapter 1 and 2, the exchangeable count for weeks 1 and 2 souvenirs will be increased. So that's also pretty good. So yeah, you can see here, the main thing that everyone's going to be excited about is this Reversion Mana Stone. So it resets your equipment materials. Essentially, it resets the rolls of all your equipment. Now, we'll get into that later. There are some downsides to this that aren't mentioned right now, as of yet. So the special illustration exchange, so there you go. You can get that Luluca with the violet eating a little piece of tiny watermelon or whatever that is. Sitting on Luluca's back. Yeah, that is a really, really nice illustration. Can't wait to get that. Okay, so here we go. The equipment, Epic Equipment Exchange. You can acquire a level 85 equipment or accessory of the desired set from Counter, Pen, and Resist by exchanging 400 event currency in weeks 1 and 2. Now here's the thing, there's no limit to the number of exchanges for Epic equipment, and the equipment can be reforged the same as Hunt equipment. Pieces and stats for the equipment are randomly determined with the same drop rate. Okay, so this essentially means that you're going to get random Epic equipment, just like you would if you had an epic craft, right? If you're in the sanctuary, you had an epic craft available and you picked a set and it gave you an epic piece of equipment. This only guarantees that the equipment's epic. It doesn't guarantee a main stat or any substats. So keep that in mind, right? This is a fantastic way to actually farm for equipment though, for sets that you might not normally be farming for. For example, if you're unable to farm Katie's penetration set, right? This is your gateway to getting some pretty nice pieces. And in weeks 3 and 4, you're actually going to be able to get hit set, speed set, and torrent set. So again, if you're unable to farm Katie's and you really want some torrent sets, now is your chance. But that is really nice, and I really hope that they do this for future events too, and it's not just limited to this one, because it's a great opportunity for players to get better gear. Right? I'm at the point where I'm actually really strapped for gear as well. Okay, but that's really nice. You can acquire a lot of illustrations, of course, by playing through everything here. And now we got Luluca, so let's go ahead and take a look at her preview.
Aren't you curious about my super special concoctions? Go on, place your orders! Whenever, wherever! That's the Luluca front! Just a moment, I'll be right with you.
Alright, so for Ocean Breeze Luluca's skills, look at that amazing little background they have there for her. It is so cool. The thing is, she is actually an Earth Elemental Soul Weaver, which is quite interesting. However, it does make sense. You don't want every Summer Limited to be an Ice unit. I know people are going to make jokes about it, but you don't want everything to be an Ice unit, right? Otherwise, that'd be very unbalanced in terms of the RGB units that come out, because limited units tend to be really good. So yeah, Luluca right here, let's see what her skills do. Her S1 attacks the enemy with overflowing energy and increases combat readiness of the ally with the highest combat readiness, except for the caster, by 10%. You can actually skill enhance this to get 5 more percent. So you can increase the combat readiness of the person by 15%, right? If you soul burn it with 10 souls, combat readiness increase will be applied to all allies. This is the same S1 as ML Calric, except that she doesn't boost her own combat readiness. It's only for the one with the highest combat readiness except herself, which is a pretty good S1 for a supporting unit. Now, her skill 2 is a passive. After an enemy uses a non-attack skill, gains 2 focus and increases combat readiness of the caster by 15%. Can only be activated once every 2 turns. After using a skill, when focus is full, consumes all focus and activates Luluca's special delivery. Luluca's special delivery will attack all enemies who are interrupting her delivery, basically running them over with her ice cream truck. She dispels 2 buffs from them and has an 85% chance to inflict silence for 1 turn and 100% chance to decrease hit chance for 2 turns before decreasing skill cooldowns of the caster by 1 turn. It's a jam-packed skill, but we're starting to see a lot more units have this kind of Sage Ball effect, right? We had what's her face? Shuna also has a chance to kind of like sleep and stuff. But for here, it's an 85% chance to silence, not necessarily sleep, but it's still a very nice control skill to have. She can't activate this turn 1 though, because her S1 here, I don't believe you gain any focus from it. Yeah, she gains 2 focus anytime someone uses a non-attack skill. And then we look at the S3. Oh, actually, this combat readiness, by the way, can increase up to 25% if you add up all of the skill enhances. So it's not just limited to 15. You can actually increase by 25%, which is pretty good. The S3 here says, with quality customer service, dispels 2 debuffs from all allies and grants increased defense for 2 turns and an ice cream. So wow, that's pretty good. I want an ice cream. Yeah, that's nice. So I wonder what that ice cream is. I hope it's like a little visual thing and not just a little flavor text. That'd be really cute and really fun. But increased defense for 2 turns is not too bad. And, you know, being able to cleanse for all allies is really good too. Okay, so let's move on. This artifact, by the way, is absolutely amazing. So, Soul Consolation. There we go. I want to say consultation, but that's not what this word is. Okay. On the base stats, it says increases effect resistance by 20% after an enemy uses a non-attack skill, increases combat readiness of the caster by 8%, and this can only be activated once per turn. So if you max this out, it's an increased effect resistance by 40%, and you can increase combat readiness by 16% when someone uses a non-attack skill. If you just get a single copy of this, you have the halfway mark, right? So you'll have increased effect resistance by 30%, and after an enemy uses a non-attack skill, you'll increase combat readiness by 12%. That's at plus 15, and that's already not too bad. In fact, you can people are probably going to be comparing this to Eternus. Eternus is whenever someone on your team is debuffed, you increase the combat readiness of yourself by 16%. You're not going to get as much increase, but if you max it out, it is essentially a stronger Eternus, because you can use it in against, you know, more than one unit. You can even use it against something like a Ron S2, right? If you have like a DJB that wants to cut or something like that, it's really useful. So I really want to get multiple copies of this artifact for sure. Okay, now here we go. This is the equipment reset system, right? You can reset the enhancement of your equipment, and you can use it on level 85 and level 90 gear. You'll do this in the Steel Workshop right here. They're going to add a third little option for us to use. Now here's the thing. It says equipment with modified substats cannot be reset. So if you use the mod stone, you're out of luck. So moving forward, you got to be careful, right? If there's a piece that didn't roll well, don't mod stone it. Otherwise, you can't reset it. Hopefully this changes in the future. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's too much for them to look back in the history and see what your modified stat is. But that means that for all the pieces that you have that are, you know, reforged level 90, if you've changed your stats on it, if it like mid-rolled, you know, and that's something you want to reset, you can't do it. Each piece of equipment can only be reset 5 times and cannot be reset after it reaches the limit. Now, that's a really strange limit to have, in my opinion. One, because I don't think we're even getting that many reversion stones in this event, but hopefully we're going to get way more, you know, in upcoming events and logins and stuff like that. That'd be great. Because this is a fantastic way to address the equipment issue. I know this has been a feature in like MMORPGs, things like Terra from like 10 years ago, right? They've implemented stuff like this, and it has been a really nice system when I played those MMOs. But yeah, to have it in Epic 7 is great. There are more restrictions though, so let's get into those. We can get these, there's 2 separate ones. You can use one on regular equipment like left side gear, and then one on right side gear for accessories like necklaces and rings. So here's the other thing. Resetting the enhancement of equipped or locked equipment will commence without any warning message, so be careful if you're gonna reset it, right? You can check the remaining reset limit in the Steel Workshop. The equipment reset screen will have a recommended filter based on the initial equipment score. All materials used for enhancement and reforging, which means all the EXP charms, the gold, the reforged materials and stuff that you used, will not be refunded. This is really key, right? You will not get refunded. It's not like a unit recall where you get all the EXP penguins, all your runes, and all your catalysts back. You don't get any of this stuff back. So you're going to have to plus 15 something, realize you don't like it, and then reset it, and then do it all over again. So be very careful, right? You don't want to sink all of your resources into one piece of gear, although that might be worth it if it turns out well. Resetting a level 90 equipment will also reset the added substats from reforging to the initial numbers, which is kind of expected. Yeah, so these are the restrictions, right? So be careful. If you mod stone something, you can't reset it. And if you used, you know, all your charms and gold and reforged materials into it, you won't get those back. But with all that, all those restrictions there, it is still a pretty nice system for us to explore. This will probably be used for people to reroll really nice, high roll starting epic pieces, right? And hopefully you can get a few of those through the summer event this summer, right? This month. Good luck to you guys in redeeming your epic crafts. Okay, so let's look at the Epic Pass here. You're going to get Summer Celine's skin, which in my opinion is absolutely beautiful. One of the best skins in the game, in my opinion. Next to probably Faithless Luluca. I really love her skin. Just a little biased though. She's my favorite unit. But Celine here, we're going to get a nice little Epic Pass. We haven't had one of these in a little while, so get a bunch of rewards from it. I don't think I need to go through all of it. Just make sure that you buy the special Epic Pass to grab that skin as well. Okay, so with that, you can change your skin for Celine, right? If you go to her hero equipment page, and you can equip the skin there. Here's the other big news. We got 2 new exclusive equipments. Usually we get 3, but this time we're only getting 2. Hopefully they make these a bit more frequent, and hopefully they make these with more impact. I've been looking through these, and they're okay. They help address some of the issues that these units have, but they're not really huge in terms of game-changing, right? It just makes the heroes do a little bit do their job a little bit better. I would like to see more exclusive equipments that come out in the future that kind of help address some of the problem units in the meta, right? If you want more C. Lilius counters or want more Lua counters, maybe you have exclusive equipments that kind of reshapes a character's kit to be able to address those situations really nicely. But anyway, let's take a look at this. We got Seaside Bellona getting her exclusive equipment, and Tempest Surin as well. Now, Seaside Bellona is going to get Attack as her main stat for the exclusive equipment, and there's 2 for her passive and 1 for S3. The first one says dispel 1 debuff from the caster before attacking with her passive. The second increases damage dealt by her passive by 10%. And the third decreases the skill cooldowns of her S3 by 1 turn. In my opinion, the best one here to use is going to be the first one, which dispels a debuff from herself before she uses her passive. Normally, Seaside Bellonas are built really slow if you're using her in PvP, And so she's going to get riddled with debuffs. People are going to try to control her, you know, blind her, unbuffable her, and all this other stuff that can be really, really annoying. The fact that she can dispel is pretty nice, especially if you're up against units like Bellion, that's AoE. So you get your stacks of focus really fast, but Bellion can also inflict, you know, blind and stuff like that you don't really want on your unit. Attack down too is a really huge one. People like putting that on her with Emil Calric to prevent her from dealing just damage in general. So that's good. The second one is actually pretty nice if you're using her in like a Wyvern one-shot or something like that, and you're just having difficulty getting the stats to kind of clear that first wave. It's going to be pretty good, especially with that attack boost as well, right, from the EE. It's going to be quite nice for helping her damage and hopefully people clearing waves. The next one, Tempest Surin. So, was not expecting this. She actually gets crit chance, which is huge, up to 12%. That actually minimizes the need for her to... If you have her on like a crit set, you can probably take her off of that and put her on something like Torrent, which is really nice. But with her right here, her S1 gets an EE, where she absorbs some of the damage dealt as health when using her S1, so it's essentially like building in a little lifesteal, which is kind of nice. We gotta see how much she actually heals. Most people build their T-Cerns on lifesteal anyway, and the problem with her was after you used her S3 and you attacked with an S1 on subsequent turns, you couldn't lifesteal enough to kind of keep her alive, especially if you built her faster on a lifesteal build. So it's kind of difficult, right? This will hopefully help, especially with the crit chance main stat. You can build some more damage onto her, and that will help compensate as well. The other two are for her S3. So the first one says increase the damage dealt by her S3 by 10%, which is not bad. And then the second one says when using her S3, it dispels one buff from the target. So this is kind of like what Kisei does. Kisei kind of reduces all the buff durations by one turn, but this is for if your opponent has immunity. If you're using an opener T-Surin, which some people do, if you have a really fast T-Surin on something like, Secret Art Storm Sword, and you cut like an opener like Ron or something like that, right? You can use T-Surin and go, and you can still silence people even if they have immunity, because you get to dispel that immunity from those units. Right, so that's pretty nice. There's an E for if you have a really, really fast speed T-Surin, then the last will option is probably the best thing to go for. If you have, I don't really know, I'd have to test it, but if you have a lifesteal T-Surin and you're really, you know, just kind of duking it out with her, the S1 EE doesn't seem that bad. Again, we have to test out the scaling for it. Otherwise, the S3 EE here, the one that dispels a buff, is still probably good even if you're not running a speed T-Surin. And just being able to dispel buffs and silence things is huge. Okay, so let's move on here. The other thing is the World Arena draft mode is going to be added, so that is very nice. This is one of the things that was teased in the last update that we were shown. We covered that on the channel if you want to go check that out. But the draft mode here allows you to have 3 units, right? 3 randomly generated units that are shown to you. And they're going to have max grade, max memory imprint, max skill enhancement, and max level. And the stats and artifacts and exclusive equipments are all going to be preset, so you can take a look at what they have. And these are all based on the most popular builds that are used in Arena. So they kind of like farmed everyone's data on the units that they're using, averaged it out, and then put some pretty nice stats here. So you can see it says after selecting 5 heroes, each player will be able to ban one unit from the opponent's team. So kind of like normal. It's just at the beginning you get to have this option, right? So people who don't have certain units get access to them, right? And then battle will commence as normal once everyone has deployed their heroes. We can see from the preview here, I know this says the image is currently under development, but you can see from the Celine, she's not too bad. About 10k HP, about 1000 defense, 200 speed, 280 something crit damage, 4,400 attacks, quite nutty. Crimson Armin over there rocking like 2,000 something defense with 22k HP, which is really, really good. Along with some effect res, 200 speed. That's better than my Crimson Armin, I'll be honest with that. And then Arwal on the left, you know, 29k HP. It's pretty insane. But yeah, not too bad. I'd say the builds are pretty reasonable. And hopefully this will allow some of you guys who don't have the unit pool to be able to access RTA more regularly. But yeah, so we have Summer Luluca that's going to be coming up, and Celine with Secret Art Storm Sword as well. One thing that we need to keep in mind is that there's some general improvements here, but there is a note that there we go. Right here, new 5-star limited hero, right? Lethe, she is going to be coming out and available on July 20th. So Luluca's limited, Lethe's limited, both units. Make sure to save your bookmarks, guys. Make sure to stock up on those sky stones. Refresh the secret shop if you have the gold. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty brutal for some wallets out there if you're not prepared, right? But that's pretty much going to be it from the patch notes here. One last thing I want to leave you guys off on is that there is going to be a 14-day check-in event. So if you haven't logged in the game for a while, if you're like, hey, you know, when's a good time to return? Now's a pretty good time to return. 14-day check-in event. You get a 5-star artifact. You get a 5-star summon ticket. You get a lot of Molagoras, gold leaves, charms, bookmarks, right? You don't want to miss out on this. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe for more Epic 7 content. And until next time, take care.